Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? It is August. That means it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre month, and I hope some of you have, I know some of you have been watching my videos, and I really, really appreciate that. So what I've been doing is I've been going through all the movies and just doing a little talk about my thoughts on them, and I've done everything now except for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I'm going to talk about now, and then the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, which I will probably watch tomorrow night. I know technically yesterday was Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day, but it just the timing didn't work out because I actually wanted to do that movie review yesterday and talk about it on the actual day of. But unfortunately, sadly, I just didn't have the time. Things were just coming up. So there's a cat trying to get my attention here. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I'm going to talk about just a few facts about the film. What? Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, come here. Come on up. There. Oh, grumpy paws. I don't care. Okay, go play or go do cat stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I'm going to talk about some facts, a few facts about the film. I'm going to be talking about how I felt the first time I saw the film versus now, and then talk about some likes and dislikes. That's kind of how I'm going to start doing my thoughts videos about movies. That's thoughts spelled THOUGHT, not THOTS, just so we know what kind of movies we're actually talking about. But anyway, kidding aside, this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I noticed something I never noticed before with this because it's got a sleeve on it. So that's the cover on the sleeve. It doesn't have the poster cover that everyone's familiar with, the Breakfast Club influence cover, but there's that. But then I never noticed it before. When you take it out, there's body parts in there. There's a leg and an arm. So just something I noticed for the first time when I was pulling this out of the case last night. But anyway, that out of the way. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986, directed by Toby Hooper, starring Carolyn Williams as Stretch, Dennis Hopper as Lefty. Everybody knows who Dennis Hopper is, I'd like to believe. You know, Easy Rider, Blue Velvet. My first seeing him on screen was River's Edge. And of course, he was in Speed with Keanu Reeves. Louis Perryman as LG, Jim Sidu, and I don't never know if I'm actually saying his name right, Sidu or Saidu. I always pronounce it Sidu, but him coming back and reprising his role as the cook, playing him just as crazy, but actually a little bit more humor this time around. And Bill Johnson as Leatherface himself, and of course Bill Moseley. And if you don't know who Bill Moseley is, and you're a horror fan, you're not a horror fan. You'll have to turn in that horror card because everybody who's a horror fan knows who Bill Moseley is. Anyway, if you're not sure, he was his top. He is Chop Top in this movie. He was in the remake of Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead. This is actually from the stage play, which I highly recommend. If it ever comes around, check it out. It's great. It's funny. It's good. And of course, everybody really knows him in recent years, over the last 20 years, I guess, through Rob Zombie's movies. So, Bill Moseley. Yeah. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, a couple facts. Yeah, this is we actually learned the hitchhiker in the first film. His name is Nubbins because this corpse, they're carrying his corpse around with them. Um, but you never heard his name to my knowledge. I've seen the movie umpteen times, the original, so I don't recall his name ever actually being said. It's always just referred to as the hitchhiker. Gunnar Hansen was actually paid to come back, or asked to come back to reprise his role. Right there, there he is. But the pay wasn't right, and so he was like, "Nope, not happening." Of course, a lot of people already know that one of the poster arts, or one of the posters, is they're posed in very much almost identical to the poster for the Breakfast Club. Uh, that's a well-known fact right there. Supposedly, sorry, it's 1:30 in the morning and I'm super tired right now. I haven't slept yet since I woke up at 7:30 in the morning for work. But anyway, so that's on me. It's my fault, not your fault, my fault. But anyway, yeah, supposedly Bill Moseley said that this was his favorite role. Carolyn Williams when she auditioned for it, she was at the end of the hall and she ran down the hall screaming, ran in the room, grabbed Toby Hooper and the other producer and just started screaming for help. Barricaded them in the office with some chairs, and that basically got her the role. Dennis Hopper said he hated this film. It was his worst role. As well as Mario Brothers. It was Jim Cedu's last film before he retired, and then he sadly passed away in 2003. Quite many years after this movie was made, but anyway, that's when he passed away. It was 2003. Just in case you didn't know that already. There's a lot of samples in this movie. When I say samples, like used in by Skinny Puppies, used quite a few. Mel Havoc, a Toronto industrial band. If you don't know who Skinny Puppy is, they're a Vancouver industrial band, pretty much the godfathers of industrial music. Mel Havoc's an early, they're still around now. Mel Havoc, that is. Skinny Puppy, I believe they've finally retired, but one of the early industrial metal bands from Toronto, or just outside of Toronto, actually. And also blah 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 Primus. That's it. I don't know why I couldn't remember the name Primus. Probably because I'm really tired. But they also use that. Sometimes I'm trying to read my own writing here. That's really bad when I can't read my own writing. Oh, I know what it was. Carolyn Williams. I wrote everything abbreviated, so it's a Carolyn Williams. This is Car Will Saw Crotch. That's literally what I wrote on the paper because I was scribbling it down fast. But Carolyn Williams, the scene where Leatherface is moving the saw up her legs and into her crotch area, her first reaction we thought is, my mom's going to see this. And she was a little bothered by that. But the scene actually came out really well, in my opinion. It's kind of risque, but especially for the time. But yeah. Anyway, and Jim Cedu is the only returning actor from the original film. Now let's just talk about my first reactions when I seen this movie, and I think it goes without saying for a lot of people that I hated it. A lot of people hated this movie. Now you got to think this is back before the internet, before spoilers, before all that stuff that is so commonplace, unfortunately, these days. But everybody already knew the original film, and probably when this was coming out, a lot of people probably went out and rented the original film just to sort of get it back fresh in your head, fresh in your mind, what it was like. And then went and saw this film and was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Because it's not gritty or dark or anything at all like the original film. It's very much more upbeat. It's partially a comedy. It's just sort of all over the place, whereas the first movie is just a straight up horror film, even though Toby Hooper says that it was meant to be more satirical. Personally, I don't see it. I just see it as a straight up horror film. Greatest horror film of all time, in my opinion. But anyway, but yeah, I hated it. I actually thought Chop Top was the hitchhiker character. And I was like, what the hell happened to him? He got hit by a truck and now he's just got this metal thing in his head. And I remember a friend of mine, Ken, who sadly recently passed away. We used to watch horror movies all the time. And I told him about how bad it was. It was awful. And we never actually got to watch it together because he just dismissed it. He was like, okay, I don't want to see it then. But yeah, over the years, like a lot of people, it started to grow on me. I started to see more of the campiness, and actually I just started to really like it, and I do really like it. I think it's a great film. It's a lot of fun to watch. The special effects, the makeup effects, everything is great. But I'll get more into that in a minute. I'm going to talk about a few things, excuse me, about the movie that I really didn't care for. When Lefty finds Franklin's corpse, that to me never made any sense, because in the movie, the original film rather, you can see his wheelchair folded up against the wall, and Franklin is not in there. I would assume that he had been cut up or done something had been done with him, and now he's put away to be eaten at a later time. But in this movie, his corpse is all skeletized. I'll just say skeletized, mummified, whatever, sitting in a chair, still holding the flashlight, which is actually a different flashlight than the one he was holding in the original film. And like that didn't make any sense. Now, why would they keep him? Like, what would be the point? So it was just, I always thought it was a little bit silly. Um, the ending I always thought was a little bit campy. Like, Chop Top starts slicing his throat. He's like, "Oh, look at my face," or whatever it was he's saying. Starts slicing his throat, and it just sort of seemed like, why are you doing that? Like, that would just kill you. And then the grandmother is still alive. And then who's the old lady that was in the chair up there with Grandpa in the original film? So was that Grandma? We're supposed to believe she was once alive, or it's two different people? I mean, was one grandma from one side of the family, one from the other? And then and then Stretch takes the saw, and then she dies. And then, of course, that's when Chop Top starts losing his shit. And then she hits Chop Top in the stomach, whatever, and he falls down through that hole, which I was fine with that. And then she just has the saw above her head, and she's freaking out, kind of like goes all psycho, and then the movie just kind of ends, kind of reminiscent of the first film. I didn't really hate that part. It just sort of I don't know, it just seemed a little hokey to me, but I mean, it's grown on me. I don't mind it, but in terms of it could have had a better ending, personally. Um, the Buzz and Rick guys, the yuppies in the beginning of the film, it was sort of that 80s kind of cliche where you always have these douchebags in the movie that you want to die. And that's kind of who they were. They were just assholes. And you're just sort of, okay, they're going to kill these guys, right? Because nobody likes them. And then the other thing, too, that I just thought of around that scene, she's on the phone with them. They're on their car phone, and she's hang up the phone. Why can't she just hang up the phone? Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know how things work back then with phones and radio stations, but I mean, I know if it was my phone and someone was calling me, I could just hang it up. Like, she's telling them to hang up, just hang up the phone. I never understood that. Like, why couldn't she just hang up the phone on her own? Just say, fuck you guys, click. End of story. Why was LG spitting everywhere? Like, he was standing there in the radio station, he was talking, it's like, who does that? Like, I didn't hate it. It was just sort of, it's more of a question. Like, why is that a character trait for him? It almost makes him seem a little bit more douchey, even though he was actually a good character and a nice guy. But it's like, why did he need to spit all over the place? I just didn't get that. Leatherface's personality change. It was it was just like, from the movie, he was like, in the first movie, he was slow, he was dense, and like he was fast running, but mentally slow. This movie, he seemed to have a little bit more intelligence going on. Now, maybe he's matured. I don't know what other way you can describe it, but I don't know, he's just a different personality. He didn't even seem really that scary. He just seemed more comical than anything. But again, it was written as more of a horror comedy, so I take it like that. But it's just like the personality in the original Leatherface, I like a lot better. But anyway, it doesn't take me out of the movie. It doesn't take anything away from the movie. I do still really enjoy the movie. I do really like that Leatherface character. So that version of Leatherface, anyway. The Leatherface having an orgasm was a little bit like, I don't know that. I mean, you don't actually see it, but it's implied when he's doing the chainsaw thing with Stretch, upper leg stuff, and he gets all excited, and a little something's going on down there that normally wouldn't be, and then he freaks out and starts up the chainsaw, and he starts air humping with the saw, which is actually really funny. I don't mind that part. I think it's hilarious, actually. But it's just the look on his face, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just kind of like ew. Like, I don't know. What else? Anything else here? Oh, and Grandpa, I think he's supposed to be 137 years old, and I'm supposed to believe he's alive. I don't know. And also, like, the makeup on that Grandpa, nothing against Tom Savini at all. Definitely nothing against Tom Savini. He's fucking awesome. But I don't know, the makeup just didn't look that great compared to what John Dugan had on in the original film. But all right, now on to the things that I like. Tom Savini's work through the whole film, except for the Grandpa makeup, phenomenal work. I mean, when the one character, the yuppie guy, gets his head split right near the beginning of the film, looks amazing. I mean, when you see him from behind, and you can tell it's like a fake head, and the hands look a little bit off. But aside from that, that's just like a nitpick. But the rest of the gore in the film was really well done. Yes, it's over the top, but it's that kind of a movie where you expect it to be over the top, and if it's not over the top, it almost feels like it's missing something. So, but yeah, the effects, the makeup, everything was really well done. Loved it. The whole look of Chop Top, like when he has the Sonny Bono wig on in the beginning, and then it gets all fucked up because Leatherface hits it with a saw, and then, but just the whole costume, the plate in the head, just he almost has an albino look, and he's got like the birthmark that Nubbins has, only he has it on the other side of his face. Just his whole appearance, his whole when you see him, because he looks psycho, but he also looks like a guy that you'd probably think was a lot of fun if he wasn't a psycho. Um, the bone art throughout the movie, especially at the end of the movie when Stretch goes up to where, so my nose is really itchy, and where the grandmother is, and then there's that big skeleton thing kind of hanging down. That looks really sick. That looked awesome. So it's a lot of really cool skeletal looking things, and just the whole artistic appearance of the film, especially at the end when they're go to the abandoned amusement park where the family's living now, and all the cool creepy shit that's all over the place. I really liked it. It was just visually, it was an amazing film, like just to see all the crazy things, little small details that were everywhere in this movie. Oh, Chop Top's the whole scene in the radio station when Chop Top and Leatherface show up, that whole scene, except for the orgasm. That whole scene is really entertaining, is really well done. She takes him on a little tour, and she's like, here, pulls up a little groundhog, or sorry, a little armadillo. She was armadillo. And then there's also an armadillo poster. I can't remember what it's for in the background. So it has the armadillo. All the movies have an armadillo in it somewhere. So it's kind of a cool tradition. But yeah, that whole scene. And then she's like, good night. It's like, good night, good night, good night. Like just the whole, and then when Leatherface comes out of the room, of course, that's a little bit hokey because the chainsaw just has an automatic on switch, I guess. He didn't have to like pull it to start it. As soon as she turns on the light, he just kind of barges out. But you know, it's a movie. It's not meant to be taken real like that seriously, especially a movie like this. But that whole interaction is really good when LG shows up and LG gets hit with the hammer, and there's a good Mel Havoc sample right in that scene too. But that whole thing is really good. The personality, just the way the characters are back and forth with each other, even Leatherface and Chop Top, it's just a really awesome scene. It's just, I don't know, it's a good scene. It just keeps the movie going, and you're not really bored in this movie. Actually, I will say there's a lot going on in this film. Leatherface's mask in this movie is really cool looking. It definitely looks a lot different from the original film, probably because there's a little bit more of a budget for this film, but it still looks like a leather mask. It doesn't necessarily look like made out of human flesh per se, where the original one, like the killing mask, especially in the original film, kind of does. But it still looks really good, the way it's stitched together, the whole appearance of it, and just the way Leatherface's eyes, Bill, the actor, I forgot his name now, but just the way his eyes look through the mask, it's kind of creepy, kind of cool, but you can still see enough that you can get his expressions. Yeah, really like that. The chainsaw fight between Leatherface and Lefty near the climax at the end of the film, when they're just kind of going back and forth. It's funny, it's silly, and the whole scene in general is a little bit funny when he gets the cook up the butt with the chainsaw, and he makes a comment about him curing his hemorrhoids. It's tongue in cheek. It's a lot of fun to watch, and just the fact they're having a sword fight with chainsaws, and it's Leatherface and Dennis Hopper, just going at it. I don't know. It's a fun scene. I really like that scene. The whole scene when Stretch is in the room hiding from Leatherface, where all the bodies are, and Lefty's, sorry, not Lefty, LG is on the floor, and they think he's dead, and Leatherface cuts off his face, and then Leatherface finds Stretch in the corner and puts his face on her face and and then starts like trying to dance with her, and then later on Lefty gets up, or sorry, excuse me, sorry, LG gets up, and then he dies right there. But it's just kind of a cool scene, just some of the simple gore, but some of the good gore all together in the same spot, putting the face on of her friend on her face that she can't reach to get it off. Just a decent scene. Toby Hooper's cameo in the hotel when she's going to visit Lefty for the first time, and there's like a big party going on, everyone's going crazy, and then there's a guy who runs in front of Lefty's door, the beard and glasses, and he just kind of looks around and does something, and then disappears out of frame. That's Toby Hooper right there. When Lefty's buying the saws, it's a good scene. He's just picking out the saws, and he's just the store owner's kind of like, okay, what's this guy doing? This guy's a little off. And then he goes outside to test the saws. Instead of cutting through them, he's like hacking away, like they're an axe. And the guy's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He's freaking out. He doesn't know what's going on. And then he just buys them, or at least you don't really. I don't think you actually see that interaction. I think you just see him with the saws later on. But just that whole scene's kind of fun, and just the look of Nubbins, the fact that Nubbins is in the movie, the hitchhiker is in the movie. Obviously, it's not Edwin Neal, but it's something that Tom Savini obviously made. I'm assuming it was Tom Savini that made it, but just as a puppet and still kind of a character, but doesn't, he actually just fill a small role in the movie, and he has the grenade on him that brings the demise at the end of the film. And just the fact he's there, and it looks really good. He's wearing the same clothes, and he still has that fur satchel thing he has around his neck. But yeah, anyway, those are just some of the things I like about this film. Now, if you want to talk about in the comments the things you liked about the film, and maybe some of the things I might have missed, or maybe some of the things I didn't like that you liked, and you can tell me why you liked them. I do love the banter. If you want to subscribe, help me get up to 1,000 subs. That would also be really appreciated. Like, comment, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and then keep an eye out for the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre review. I will have coming up in the next couple days. And I guess that's all I got to say about this. If you watched it all the way, thank you so much. And until the next one, bye.